pleasure for me as a longtime fan to be sitting here with Aaron Gray. Here with Larry Hama.
We're talking with Kevin J. Anderson, best-selling author.
Mr. Neil Adams.
I am here with David Prince.
Axel Alonso, editor.
Shadow Stevens. And Dallas Comic-Con with John Delancey.
With Tom King.
Kevin Conroy.
Free comic book day.
Denise Crosby.
PopCon Pop Expo.
Here on location at Star Wars Celebration.
Sci-Fi Expo, talking for our second time with Gil Gerard.
Wichita, Kansas at Time Eddie.
Producer David Gerald.
I've got Eric Flint.
Are here at Smallville Comic-Con.
Wizard World St. Louis.
VillageCon in Bentonville, Arkansas.
Michael Lombardi.
We were talking with Alan Dean.
Quincy Allen.
Suzanne Lambden.
Founder of Starlog Magazine, Mr. Kerry Oakwood.
Chris Sabi.
Len Weed. Dave Schwartz. Mano Intirami. Jason Aaron.
This is Sci-Fi for Me, your portal to the science fiction multiverse.
The Immortal Mask, a 1970s superhero crime noir adventure that follows a retired soldier who is given a Covenant interview with a death row inmate. What he learns from the interview thrusts him into Atlanta's shadowy underworld. He'll have to utilize his military training to survive from being hunted for the information that could topple the most powerful ruling class in the city. This is not a pre-order or a crowdfunding campaign. Get your books now at Denali's.com.
"25 seconds to curtain, folks."
Your favorite podcast is Critical Blast.
Ladies and gentlemen, the smartest man in the room, Michael Oden.
Oh, please. No. I would never claim such.
You know, my education was pretty good, and I was near the top of the class, but I always feel so stupid when I listen to you on stream. Like, what are these? They sound like English words. They sound monosyllabic, or polysyllabic even. See, that's how stupid I am. I have no idea where they're coming from with all this stuff. Especially get you and Nefarious on a stream and Raiden Radio. I'm like, just screw this. This is Socrates and Plato having some sort of a debate about something esoteric.
Well, it's all derivative, isn't it? No. No. In all seriousness, thanks for the intro. I don't know if I can live up to that smartest guy in the room. That's certainly not the case on my Napoleon show with Aldous when we're doing Vive l'Empereur. Like, I am certainly not used to being out talked. But Aldous runs circles around me, and a lot of that has to do with, as much as I know about the French Revolution and Napoleonic period, like Aldous, I'm fairly certain did some reenacting for stuff from that period, and is really into Napoleon. And knows has straight up books of battle maps that I don't even have. So it's just this is one of the few times where I feel like I'm completely outclassed in a historical conversation. So it's nice. It's a unique experience for me.
Well, the focus of your history studies, and this is not, took a history class in college. This was like your major, and the focus, I believe, was on the Roman Empire.
Antiquities. Roman Empire was definitely a fascination. I have a piece pending peer review for publication on Hadrian's reductionism. What I ended up doing for my senior seminar was actually Alexander the Great's adoption of Eastern customs as a political mechanism.
That's sort of the way Constantine adopted the Christian customs as a way to.
Yes and no. Alexander adopted. That's a whole other stream. Okay, RJ, you're gonna get me. We're here to talk about a very specific thing. And if I go off and I start talking about Alexander, this paper was 30 pages. Okay, RJ, I can go on this for a while.
So how close did Watchmen get it?
But anyways, thanks so much for having me on the show. And yeah, man, it's always a blast coming to hang out and chat. But yeah, we're here for a pretty special thing. We've got something up in pre-launch that I think people are gonna dig. So
yeah, this is we're entering, I guess, public domain world here again.
Yes,
which I'm getting into. I've actually, I don't know if I told you, I've actually written my first comic book piece. I did tell you this because we discussed it.
You've told this to me behind scenes and what have you. You've been working on public domain, on a public domain character. I think, what was it, with Luke, right?
Yeah, Luke Stone. It's going to be published with Arrow. It's just a tiny piece in a much larger work, anthology called Out of Obscurity, and I will be. I have turned in 8 pages for the clock. It's penciled, it's inked. That's just being colored and lettered by Luke. But it will be interesting seeing my first comic book work, probably my only comic book work, because I'll be honest, writing that 8 pages, I was like, I'd rather write another 100,000 word novel than write an 8-page story in comic book form.
Shifting from writing prose to writing comic book script is not easy. And you have to teach yourself a lot of things. There's a lot of technical aspects to it because you're not when you're writing prose, you can fill a page with your thoughts and, how you want, what's going through each of your characters' heads, descriptors, everything like that. In a comic book, it's all right. You need to break down what you want to have happen on this page. Don't waste your time trying to be flowery with your language and everything right now. You need to be able to just efficiently communicate what you want to have happen on each page, what you want to have happen on each panel to the artist, right? And every now and again, you'll get an art. For instance, when I first wrote JUDEX, I was looking at working with this particular artist who had said that they preferred to have it effectively written out in prose, and then they would break down the page based off of what I had written. So when I initially wrote that script, I did go into prose. And in fact, Neff and I have had conversations about me trying to take that initial script and turn it into a pulp novella as a little side thing to have on the campaign. But we're not I don't know if I have the time. I've got a lot of other stuff that I'm juggling, and Neff's doing everything he can because he's running the campaign and everything. He's my producer and editor and business partner on this, and it's been awesome working with him. So yeah, it's one of those things where we've talked about it, and maybe down the line I'll do that, because I remember when I read him the first draft of JUDEX, he just went, the opening line that I had was this very descriptive thing to describe the atmosphere of France and everything like that. And he just goes, please tell me that's in the fucking book somewhere. He's just I don't know how, but please tell me that that's in the book somewhere, because it's fucking beautiful.
They were pretty good times. They were kind of bad times.
But
the property in question, of course, is if you're looking at the title of the video, JUDEX. Now, I have never heard of JUDEX. You had told me about it behind the scenes a while back, and then it's just became something else that was cluttering up the back of my head while I worked on several other projects. But now it's in pre-launch stage. It's going to be a thing.
Yes.
And I still know it's French. That's what I know.
So the big thing with JUDEX, and is the reason why I drove to him, is anyone who knows me knows that I am a very big fan of the Shadow. The Shadow is one of my favorite characters, and I've always wanted to write the Shadow. Sadly, however, he is owned by Condé Nast, and they're very protective of that IP, and he doesn't go into public domain for, I think, roughly another decade. And I didn't want to wait that long.
People who tried to do a Shadow movie, and they just got totally stonewalled because they thought
100%. Like it's a mess trying to do anything with the Shadow. But what I did end up finding out is that when Walter B. Gibson was creating the Shadow, he was heavily inspired by this French silent film character called JUDEX. And I went and I looked into him and what his deal was, and he is a very similar character to the Shadow. And what I even found out, and this one was more of a recent revelation that actually Neff figured out, and he let me know, and it's only further fueled how perfect this reimagining has been, is that during World War II, when there was publication embargoes in Vichy, France, that prevented Shadow stories from going into French magazines, Condé, whatever company it was that was publishing them at the time, I don't think it was Condé, but whatever publishing company was publishing them at the time was publishing Shadow stories under JUDEX.
Oh.
So there are actually French comics of the Shadow that are called JUDEX because they're very similar characters. And so what I ended up doing was I took JUDEX and I gave him a bit of a makeover design-wise, and I set him in 1940s Paris, and I made him this cultural protector of the city that's kind of sitting around and listening to his city's pulse and watching the ongoings of these injustices from the Court of Miracles, which is this hub of the mystic in France, this cultural epicenter of all of these.
Wait, did you make that up, or are you pulling this from history? Because it gets hard
to
tell.
A bit of both. The Court of Miracles was a real thing. It was generally it was a there are theories as to where it was in Paris, but it was where the undesirables hid, like the gypsies, everything like that. That's where the Romani and everything would hide, and what have you. And in during the French Revolution, there was a bunch of stuff that happened in the Court of Miracles. But I liked this aspect of this, this underground catacomb-like layer, and I wanted, you when you have a character like this, you got to have, some sort of underground layer, whether it's a bat cave or the Shadow had his little thing that he would go into, and he'd contact his where he'd get his information from his informants and everything like that. When you have a character like this, it's important for them to have their home base. And so I had this idea for this underground Parisian catacomb style lair that's a hub of French culture, where you've got collections of all these different things that you'll recognize. There's a page in the book where you get to see around the Court of Miracles, and you'll see all of these little Easter eggs of French culture, like the Sword of D'Artagnan or the love letters of Cyrano de Bergerac. It's this epicenter of French culture that's meant to be this heartbeat at the center of Paris, and it's everything about it's everything that I wanted to bring forward in the character. But I see that there's a lot of activity going on in the chat, so let's say hello.
There is a ton of activity. I've highlighted some, but we'll scroll back here and start with Woody, who is listening and watching with bated breath. I hope you didn't bait that with sassy shad. That can really taste bad. George, you're the smartest man, but it's a different room. You're in another room. You're listening through the door. Very close. Mike has stopped in to like and share and say hi. And got some information on the clock because it is from Mike's Friday night streams that I was inspired to use the clock. I don't know if you're familiar with Mike Walters. Every night he does niche news, but on Friday. Okay, so you know that whole trope about somebody coming into the comic shop and saying, "Hey, I want to read comics. Where should I start?"
Yeah.
Mike figured out that they started in 1938, so that's where he went. And every Friday night, he's reading with guests out loud and with voices and sound effects, reading from the Golden Age comics and moving forward through time. So, he's up to the 1939 right now. So he's doing a lot of the superheroes that came out, including Superman and Batman are now part of the rotation.
Nice.
A lot of fun there. Shadow is public domain in 2027. So it's
that's almost a decade. Like 5 years. Oh, no.
4 years. 4 years. Frog Jesus,
either way.
French Shadow is called Judex and not Le Shadow, which I had a question about that. I was wondering if Judex meant anything.
It is Latin for judge.
Judge. Okay. You know what? I wasn't even thinking Latin because it was in France. I'm thinking that's a French word. I did take 3 years of Latin. I should have picked that one up. Well, the J threw me too. So it's like J.
It's all good.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it would in Latin it would obviously be Judex, but like, it's French, so Judex.
Eric, thank you for wishing us luck. We do appreciate it. I assumed it would have been L'Ombre in France. So, and yeah, Mike puts on a good show, which is why I have him here because God knows I'd need the help. So what kind of a character is Judex in his surroundings? I mean, is he known? Is he wanted? Or is he just sort of like this always operating in the shadows? Nobody even knows he exists kind of thing.
He's operating in the shadows and very few people know he exists. The whole impetus of this story when you go in is Paris is under occupation. It's under Nazi rule. And Judex is listening to the heartbeat of his city, and he's hearing it die. He's and he's angry. He's angry that its people are just allowing this to happen, that they aren't resisting. It's like, it's natural. All things die, but this city deserves more than this. Than this, whimper. This city deserves more than this death. It deserves better. And so he's trying to go out there, and he's going out, and he's obviously fighting the Nazis, but he's also bringing judgment to the citizens that are potentially going along with the I don't want to read the opening, Neff. I want people to see that. My co-creator. Why don't we give you a link? Hold on 1 second.
Bring him in. Yeah. Judex is old school, and I mean old. Yeah, very, very old school. I mean, when you talk pre-Shadow, that's like you're in the myths of modern superheroes. I said that to sound educated. I have no idea what it means.
So, I mean, if Neff really wants me to read the opening, hold on 1 second. I wasn't planning on doing that, but I can.
You just open the drive, open the script, read the opening.
Yeah, I know. I just got to get there. And
you got to put on the dramatic voice. In a world.
All right. Let me see if I can muster a French accent for this. We'll see if I can do it.
All right.
Do you hear it too, I wonder? The ragged gasps of a city in decay, too weak to mourn the cruel twist of fate that on this night, an anniversary to mark the death of tyranny, Paris finds itself yoked to yet a more wicked regime. I completely butchered that. Oh. And like that's really that's really where this whole thing begins. Is this book takes place on the anniversary of the execution of Louis XVI.
Okay,
and it's 1941.
That's freaking French Rorschach.
Yeah.
I've seen its true face.
But anyways, I'm normally able to. I was not prepared to do that. But anyways, point is that this whole story takes place at the in this period where it's the anniversary of the death of Louis XVI, right? It's like this is a big day, and the Nazis are in Paris, and the way that I've described Paris in this is that it's the light. It's the city of lights, but it's dim.
Yeah,
there's an emotion of capitulation in the air, and JUDEX isn't having any of it.
The lights are going out one candle at a time.
And that's really what this book is it's a rally. He is making a rallying cry to stand up against these jackbooted oppressors, against these people who are putting his city down.
So who the Shadow, he's good with the guns, he's got lots of money, he's trained in the Far East, he's got the tiger eye ring to get into the minds of men. What is JUDEX when he's not JUDEX?
JUDEX when he's not JUDEX, it is irrelevant because he is JUDEX. There is nothing else to there is the person behind the mask is immaterial because JUDEX is who and what he is now. It doesn't matter. There is nothing else but JUDEX. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of V for Vendetta from Alan Moore. There's this cry to his people to rebel up against this dystopian regime, and it's a great read. I think Neff and I have really gone to work on this script and have just pulled out, absolutely delivered, I think, just a stellar read. People are going to be blown away with how smooth this goes, and we've got Fabrizio Ugolini, who has done art for Heavy Metal Magazine, doing this art that's just absolutely beautiful. And we are not bringing in a colorist because the way that his line work looks is it just looks like a black and white Sapatone film.
Yeah, it should.
It's fucking great.
Coloring sometimes ruins really good penciling. Inking sometimes ruins really good penciling to my eye, but it's just me. So what does he do? Is he just like a really good, scary person who will punch you and shoot you if he's got a gun, or does he have shadow-like inspiration power?
He's got some shadow-like stuff. As I said, Walter B. Gibson based a lot of the stuff of the Shadow on JUDEX, and I've taken some things and I've tweaked them. In the original concept, JUDEX was a master of hypnotism, and had been trained by circus folk, and he was trying to get revenge on a banker that caused the death of his father, right? He was going after a corrupt banker. That was the original JUDEX. That's from the silent film in, I think, 1916 is when it came out. When it comes down to this iteration of the character, I have him his cloak in the back that you see. It is it's described as a cloak of midnight and allows him to traverse through the shadows of Paris. He has a gun called La Veuve, the widow, which is made from the blade of the guillotine. Like he is Parisian culture manifest in an Avenger, in a protector, and that's what it is that, you know, he's armed with this weapon that was meant to be a arm of justice for the Parisian people. As I said, you've got the widow, which is made from the blade of the guillotine, right? The one from the French Revolution that cut the heads off of all these people, and perfect. One of the brilliant things about this weapon is that it's a character in and of its own right, as you will find out in the story, because JUDEX uses it, and when he finishes and he's cleaning out the weapon, it gives him the exact, there was the exact amount of rounds that are needed, right? Like justice is exact in his hand is kind of a theme.
I can dig that. So
Neff is saying the guillotine that did what, Oden? We're not all history nerds. So the guillotine that executed Louis XVI, Marie Antoinette, Maximilien de Robespierre, also count at least tens of thousands of innocent aristocratic and middle class nobility.
Robespierre deserved it.
But I think Marie Antoinette probably fucking deserved it as well. I think that Louis XVI, you could make an argument that he could have gone into exile, but Marie Antoinette certainly deserved to get the kiss from the widow, from the national razor.
I want to tell people, if they're interested in this so far and they want to know when you launch, the link to the pre-launch is right below the video. You can click it anytime.
And we do have a launch date. Our launch date is July 14th, which is a very, very special day, because July 14th is also known as Bastille Day.
Perfect.
It is French 4th of July. So the Bastille Day is, of course, the celebration of the Sans-Culottes storming the Bastille. And it is considered to be one of the initial markers of the French Revolution, and it is the Bastille was this old prison that was kind of associated with Ancien Regime tyranny. So we figured, if there's any time to launch a book about a protector of Paris that's supposed to be culturally like a manifestation of pure Parisian culture, if there's any day to do this, it's July 14th.
Yeah. And if you want to get one more shadow connection in there, I did look up the Internet Archive for the film, since it is public domain. People, you can click on the link I just put in the chat. It's episodic, and the first episode is L'Ombre Mystérieuse, which is the mysterious shadow.
Yep.
So there you go, Mr. Gibson. Just steal everything while you're at it. Why don't you?
He to his credit, unlike another creator who took credit for creating Batman for years before the person that actually made Batman got any credit, Walter B. Gibson was very open in interviews that he took a lot of inspiration from JUDEX when creating the Shadow. There are multiple quotes that of him in interviews discussing this. So at least he gave credit where credit was due. But it's one of those things that when you look at the original character design, you look at the Shadow, you go, man, you can absolutely even just see it. But my whole thing is I looked at that original character design and I was like, this needs something. This needs something. And so then I was looking online at Carnival masquerade masks, and I found this one that just spoke to me. And if you zoom, I don't know if we can zoom in. If you go up to the one with him, kind of holding his hands up, scroll up a little bit. So I'm not sure if you can see, but there's these little markings that are under his eyes, and then there's a chain that's coming down. This is the facade of the scales of justice being etched into his mask.
Yeah, you can see it real well on the main picture here. And a lot of the stitching into the mask, I think that's just some excellent detail there.
But yeah, so like that is that like it, you know, we're really excited for this book to come out. As I said, the script's done. Fabrizio's almost done with the art. The goal is to have proofs printed by the time we launch. Like it's gonna be an awesome campaign. We're really excited. Neff and Kim, let me tell you guys, Neff and Freak Girl go the extra mile in this industry. I don't like it. Seeing them work has been mind-boggling. I don't know how they do half the crap that they do, but like I'll get like a message from him, and he'll be like, "Hey, we're doing this for JUDEX," and I'm going, "We can do that?" And they go, "Yeah, no, we've got it." like there's stuff on this campaign that like I wouldn't have been able to facilitate in a million years on my own. And
I mean, when I had a campaign for the last anthology we did, we wanted to do a hardcover, The Devil You Know, and they, you know, they're so experienced at setting up these campaigns. They're like, "This is the image you need," and they put together a path, the 9 circles of hell. That was like going to be for each of the stretch goals that we didn't hit, but if we had, it would have been really cool.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing, is they know this stuff so well. And like, let me tell you, like, there are a lot of people that have been talking about the future of how things are going to be going in the indie comic scene and everything like that. Neff has a plan. I don't and he is one of those people that I see and I go, like, this guy's going to go the distance. And I am so humbled that they, you know, that when I pitched them this and everything, that they took me under their wing. Like, it's been an incredible experience. I've learned an insane amount just by being in proximity and being in email chains, looking how they go through and evaluate art. I've learned a lot more about page layout and everything like that just by being in the same room with these guys. The Global Frequency team is a force to be reckoned with, and I'm hoping that between my I don't come off as arrogant, but my proven ability to tell a story and their absolutely fantastic ability to bring the best out of everything, include like from my writing to Fabrizio's art, like people aren't ready. And this book's just the beginning. Like, I have, I think, at least 3 other projects that I'm doing with them. Neff goes, Oden has ideas for days. Neff yells at me because I'll call him up on the phone with a new pitch and he'll go, "We have 3 books to get done this year, Oden.
Write it
this
down.
year. Stop."
You need a company. You need a team of writers to you know.
It's funny because, like, you know, we're doing a whole bunch of really great stuff with this campaign, and that will hopefully spin off to other stuff and everything like that. And he just I can hear we're talking on the phone, but I know he's glaring at me. Because he'll be like, it's like, that's a really good idea. Okay,
I wanted to scroll back and get this comment from Bunny here. I was talking about
snazzy
dresser. And that it's interesting to me because, like I said, having gone through the Golden Age books with Michael's show and everything, before Superman, all the heroes were wearing 3-piece suits and fedoras. They just put on a different kind of mask on their face. It's like, you know, I got to go in action, just reach in my pocket, and I'm ready to go. you
Dress
couldn't
to
tell.
impress, friend.
At one point, you couldn't tell the clock from the spirit because it was their whole shtick. So yeah, I would never think you could go fight and punch and get down and dirty, and then get up and your pinstripes are just perfectly fine. Well, not with the spirit. Denny Cole ripped his all the time. But I'm curious about the meaning of this particular picture because he's throwing a French coin at us.
So the importance of that coin is there's a figure on there called Le Marianne. And Le Marianne is a very famous figure in French culture. If you go and you look up paintings of the French Revolution, there's a very famous painting of a woman leading a group of people and raising a drapeau de français, and she's in kind of like a tattered white tattered white shirt and skirt, and she's leading forward, and she's got the I'm blanking on what it's called, but it's like the little like red hat that the sans-culotte wear. And she is called La Marianne, and she is the French symbol of justice. She is this embodiment of the French Revolution. And so in no small way, she is kind of the muse of JUDEX. Like, she is this embodiment of Paris that he serves.
Interesting. I was trying to look it up, but my French sucks, so I found no picture. So is this? Let's talk about the book and its physicality. Leave the character alone for a moment. Is this a 22-page first installment? Is this gigantic graphic novel all in one?
So this is going to be a floppy book, and this is the first. This is the first of many. I have an entire I am working on an entire first storyline with Neff. But the other great thing is because this is a pulp style character, there's going to be opportunities for us to bring in other people to do these little vignette stories and compile them into anthologies, because that's the beauty of that's one of the things that I pitched initially. Is the idea is to establish this character and give him this playground to play in, and eventually we'll bring in other people to expand him out, and we have some really exciting first steps in that on the campaign. So
I left your comment up there. Sorry. So
this is the Marianne.
Yeah, found it. Thankfully, Neff spelled it out in the chat. I'm like, oh, I can copy paste that. Interesting comment here. It says, knowing you, it's being minted, because he's like, wait till you see what we got planned. Yeah. I know people have done challenge coins before.
I have. Challenge coins are very expensive.
Yes, they are.
But we've got another thing. Neff, is there anything that I can or cannot say? Since you're in the chat, just shoot me a message on Twitter and let me know what I can talk about and what I can't. And just yes, fair enough.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah. So I guess with it being a floppy, my concern with it being a number one issue of a new character, a new superhero of sorts, is that I read a 22-page floppy, I get 20 pages of the setup and the setting, and then I turn to that last page to get the hero. How much JUDEX do we get in JUDEX number one?
You get a lot of JUDEX in JUDEX number one.
Okay.
JUDEX does a lot of shit in the first book. It is very action-packed. It is a very well-rounded story, and I don't think if it were not a well-rounded story, it would not have been picked up by Neff. Neff does not mess around with his books. Oh, snap. Okay, cool. Yeah, we are doing a Marianne coin that will be involved in the
there we go.
There. So there we go.
Sweet. That would be very cool.
Let me pull up the mock-up because he's given me if he's posting it in the chat, I'm going to assume that means that I can show it.
So that's what I should have done. I should have downloaded some Marseillais and played that.
The Marseillais.
Yeah, I know.
Marseillais. Also, I'm not sure if you are aware, but might be the most violent national anthem ever.
Sweet.
Like it's literally all about slitting the throats of the nobility and gorging in their blood. Like that's literally the entire first verse.
Vive la Revolution.
I'm trying to find it. Neff, which I'm trying to think. It's not in the 3D print folders.
It might be on its way there because Frequency Girl is saying, "Hang on one second." So
okay,
there might be an upload taking place. But so there's a special thing you get if you sign up on the launch day.
Yes.
Can we talk about that, or should we?
I have no idea what that is yet. They haven't even let me know, so I can't tell you.
Okay.
And if they have, I can. Oh, hold on. Neff, it's in your Twitter chat. I already sent it to you.
Frog G and I are both definitely back.
I mean, he is a frog, so like French are set like second cousins, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Frog. Why are you backing this? You should be running away from the French, so you don't get eaten.
Neff goes, "Oh, I'm dumb." Okay.
That's called self-deprecation. Because he's anything but.
Oh no, he is tremendous, and really working with him has been a blast. When we were going through and editing the script, there were like a few times where we're going through the revised dialogue, and we literally started typing the exact same thing on each of our screens, and I was just like, "This is freaky."
That's when you know you're in sync with the character. I mean, some characters. I'm half convinced, like Grant Morrison, that some characters are real to some extent and struggle to be born. When two people are writing the same thing, that's the character coming through. Hey, Aaron, how's it going?
How's it going, guys? RJ, I got some stuff for you. Just give me a second here and let me load it up.
Do you want to show off the coin and the
RJ, how much do you want me to show off?
You can show off whatever you want, man. It's your show. I just clicked the button.
No. It's your show. How much do you want me to show you? How much do you want to see?
I want to see it all. I want it all. And I want it now.
Okay, let me see here.
That's another clip I should get.
Screen.
Add to stream. Oh, wait. Tell you what. You tell me when you want it added to the stream. And
No. Add it to stream. It's fine. The drive is just the drive.
Yeah,
I want to make sure that you didn't have folders out there like taxes, credit card.
No, this is how
the JUDEX drive.
Yes, the JUDEX drive. So when we do pages and stuff, we do our roughs here, right? Here are the turnarounds for the characters. These are references for characters and stuff. So if you went in here, you'd see the characters and the different things that our artist needs to use as visual reference. Covers, we have just the regular cover that you see here.
Do we want to show that? That'd be the first time that we showed off the cover in full.
It's a TIFF. I'll see if I can open it on here. I don't know if I can. Well, okay, hold on. Let me blow it up. Let me see if I can make it small. No, it's too big. Here. Can you see this? Are you watching?
Yep,
Is it showing? Is it showing the image?
It is showing the image.
Okay. So you got some Nazis, you got Javert on the right, you got Lemarion coin in the background, you got Judex with his mask and his gun and the widow, and you got the Eiffel Tower. It's a very large photo. It probably would be easier to see in JPEGs if it were.
Frog G says in the chat, it's too big, quote unquote. Neff bragging again.
That's not. Well, yeah, okay, fine.
Of course, there will be other covers coming. So,
yep.
Freak, where'd you put the coin in the 3D prints?
That's where I was looking initially, but I didn't see it there.
Wait a second, 3D prints, and it's not a coin.
All right. Well, the challenge coin is going to be a thing. What folder is in turnarounds? That's why, because we're dumb, Oden. Why would you put
it's
it where
literally
it's supposed
right
to be?
there.
Look at
so. This is the front-facing one, which is a copy or a duplication drawn by the artist, but a very, very good facsimile of Lemarion with the République Française. But then we did like a special backside because we were too close to an actual franc. So we made Lemarion with the justice scales because Judex is all about balancing the scales and justice and all. So then we've got the raised metal, recessed metal, and everyone who backs the main cover just gets one of these in a little collector's case. So you get the challenge coin with the book.
That's a sweet little add-on there, and it just comes with the book.
Yeah, you know how everyone gives you like a bookmark, or JP gave you a lighter, which I thought was really cool. I was like, let's go a little bit more. It also features very prominently in the story because Judex gives Lemarion to his agents. It's his special coin that he gives people to remind them of their French Parisian pride that they need to reclaim so they can force the German occupiers out of their city. So you're kind of like one of Judex's special agents. It's your Dick Tracy radio watch, you know. Like now that you bought the book, you're on for the ride. Yeah, it's exactly. It's your decoder ring, right? This is the widow that Oden was talking about. We slightly modified the design. It's no longer a side-hinged pistol. It is more like a peacekeeper, so it has a loading gate over here instead. This is the mask, right? Light version, the dark version. Let me show you the really cool thing that I'm really proud of this because this was my own.
This looks freaking sick.
This is a 3D print.
This is a life-size Judex mask that you can wear. And we're going to have these on the campaign once I finish the airbrushing and paint touches. As you can see here, here's like the back strap that goes behind your head. There'll be elastic.
Do you want to show them the widow fully modeled that you sent the other day?
I'll show them the widow. Sure. There's elastic that goes to this thing, but there's an alligator clip in the middle, so you can just like unclip the alligator clip and take it off and put it on. The interior, it's done the same way as an airsoft mask. That's what I used as the base for the engineering. We're actually doing the 3D printing test tomorrow. So once like I said, the airbrushing and everything is done, we'll know entirely for fabrication purposes from start to finish how much it is to make, so I can properly price the tier.
So you do your own printing?
Yeah. I have we have access to some Jupiter 6s. We're using ABS flexible resin, so it's a special type of resin with an ABS plastic mixture. So it doesn't come out layered like those weird, multiple layered prints. These are actually smoothed, and the Jupiter 6 is it's not an industrial printer, but it's like a heavy duty printer for large scale jobs. It's got a plate that's really deep. It's about like 1.5 foot, and the plate is like 9 by 12.
This is what I was telling you, RJ. Is I get calls from Neff like, hey, we're doing this thing for Judex, and I go, we can do that, and they're like, yeah, we got it.
So this is the diagram for the widow. These are the measurements. It's millimeters, it's inches. So you got like about 1 foot and a little bit, by 6 inches by 1.5. It's really thin. Freak Girl, upload the color tests that we got back from Marcos yesterday so I can show them what it's actually going to look like. The color tests are amazing. I don't know if you saw the Pantones that we put down the side. There's like
I don't
9
know,
colors.
But like,
anyway,
this is exciting for me. So.
This is the internal action on the gun, so it's actually functional. I mean, not functional in the sense of like you could, not functional in the sense of like you can hit a percussion cap and shoot somebody because the barrel is obstructed, obviously.
Okay.
But we're having it be so that you can cock the hammer, which rotates the cylinder, and then you can pull the trigger to drop the hammer back down.
So you can put little paper caps in.
They're in the folder labeled colors and turnarounds.
Thank you. So that's the idea there. We wanted something functional that could serve as a cosplay gun. A lot of people are doing like figures. We're going there too. That's the next thing that I have on this campaign. But what we're looking at right now is we're going into the cosplay direction that I haven't seen anybody really take on yet. So I'm trying to set the bar for like costuming and stuff. Freak Girl actually is making the JUDEX cape with the whole interior patterning that you've seen. She said colored turnarounds. Colors. Yeah. There we go. So this is what the Widow is going to look like when it's finished with the gold filigree, or the gold accents on like the inside.
It's so fucking pretty.
This is not a portrait.
So
it's not portrait. It's now profile to match that, as you saw in the other one. But we just used the color. We used the turnaround for the color test because the artist we're working with needs the Pantone colors. That's this right here. So we needed these for the base color, the accent color, and the highlight, right? So we needed to go in and get all of the RGBs converted to Pantone so that we can color it properly. As you can see, this is JUDEX. This is going to be the... Okay, yeah, there's a JUDEX figure. This is the mask. These are the Pantones for the masks. So that's what that's going to look like.
I was going to ask if there were colors to the mask. Now.
Yep.
Yeah, there's colors to the mask right there. But as you can see, that's like, what? I can't even count. 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 colors. It's a 9-color job I think on all of them. We get up to 9 colors for the airbrush and detail work. But like I said, I have to price out how much that's going to be per unit. But I'm trying to get the prices down as low as possible on this campaign. I can tell you right now, we're selling the 32-ish. I think it's 32 to 36. It's somewhere in the 30 range. We're selling the book for base book with no stretch goals, no coin, no nothing, but free shipping for $10. So book plus shipping, $10. Then the next step up is book plus all the stretch goals, plus the coin, plus the print, which I don't have because the guy who did the print, his scanner broke, and he had to go find a scanner on the entire other side of town. Yeah, we have a print from Skunk Artwork, and he did a really beautiful shadow homage piece, which is really gorgeous in black and white contrast. So everyone's going to get one of those. Another thing we're doing on this campaign is a lot of glow-in-the-dark, so you're going to have a glow-in-the-dark cover, you're going to have a glow-in-the-dark sticker, because JUDEX is, like, mysterious, right?
Yeah.
We wanted to, like, do some cool glow-in-the-dark effects, so there's a glow-in-the-dark print on the base one, which is what we're using Skunk's print for. So it's glow-in-the-dark print, plus the coin, plus the comic, plus all the stretch goals, $20. Of course, I can't give you ship in there because I can't pay for flat rate media mail with the stretch goals and stuff, so you're going to have to be paying the regular crowdfunding shipping price. But then we go up from there. We have some variants, and then we have like the special glow-in-the-dark two-tone finish that we're trying to do. So far, we've been having trouble with the spot gloss, Oden. As you well know, we've got the glow-in-the-dark treatment and the background, but the spot gloss that I want to do on the parts of the background and make them stand up and off that black background has been a little bit tricky. We might need to go outside of the country to figure out how to do that.
Okay. Yeah, you had mentioned something about that, either China or Mexico or what have you, right?
Yeah, right. And then we've got a ridiculous thing. I'm going to have to unshare my scrin for a second, and then I'm going to open another thing for you. I'm going to share
in my head, what I'm seeing that would be so cool, and again, I imagine this stuff up, would be like a black cover. And you've seen this before. It's just a black cover, plain black cover, but the face is embossed on it or debossed, whatever the technical term is.
And it glows.
Yeah. But wouldn't even have to glow. You can see it.
Right, you don't see it. You can vaguely see it. The one that I'm looking to do right now is, because we have that on the Sugar Skull, the one that I'm looking to do right now is Russ Leach did a beautiful
it's
black
really
and white
good.
shadow. Is that in the drive? Nobody puts anything in the drive.
It was set, so he hasn't finished it yet. He sent us his pencils, and you were pretty impressed with what his pencils were.
The pencils are as good as the inks, man. Like his pencils are ink work. They look so good.
It's very hyper detailed. I think that's just an email. If you want, I can even pull that up.
Yeah, why don't you try and bring that one up? See if you can find Russ's cover, because what we're doing with that is he's doing a background for us. On top of that. Now that figure is going to glow and the background is black, but he's doing another, the cityscape on a separate layer digitally. And what we want to do is, there used to be, I don't know, you remember Image? Deathblow had a really cool cover where it was his face on black in spot gloss. It wasn't embossed, but it was spot gloss, so it shined on a matte black background. So what I want to do is I want to put the cityscape in spot gloss so it shines on the matte black background, and then do the white inside Russ Leach's JUDEX design as the glow-in-the-dark finish on the color contrast paper. So everything will feel matte, there will be a slight texture difference on the white, and then the cityscape will shine. And then when you turn out the lights, JUDEX will glow. That's my goal for this cover. We're going hard, man. What can I say? I love doing this stuff. This is like I love it. I have so much fun making cool comic book shit. What was I looking for?
It's more than just a book. It's a functional piece of art.
Yeah, it's fun too for the creators to, like, trade their secrets, right? Like, so when someone wants to do glow in the dark stickers, I got their back now. Vaughn did a really cool, that's what I was looking for. Vaughn did a really cool glow in the dark shirt for Monster MD. So he and I got to talking about that, and I started tracking down a printer that can help us with the glow in the dark ink that doesn't wash off in the wash, but like stays, and it doesn't, like, get crappy. So we're going to have a glow in the dark on the t-shirt too. I am looking
I just ordered some patches from somebody, and one of the things I noticed that I didn't need at the time was that they had glow-in-the-dark embroidery thread. So they were making glow-in-the-dark patches.
That's Russ's piece, yeah. So the white is going to glow. The black right now is not inked, obviously. But back there, we're going to have like Paris skyline kind of in silhouette, right? And we're going to throw the spot gloss on that so it stands out against the matte cover. And then when you turn the lights off, everything white is going to glow.
That'll be cool.
I'm waiting to get the glow test back from our printer who's doing the cover treatment for this, and I'm actually sending them Skunk's piece first to see how the black and white contrast ink works for the glow in the dark. This was what I wanted to show you. Let me see if I can get it right here. Share screen. Now you could tell me what you're looking at here. What are you looking at?
It looks like I'm looking at the Black Terror.
Yeah, it's Black Terror down here, right? Who's this? Who's this?
As I said, we're looking to expand.
Who's this guy right here?
That's JUDEX, and
that's JUDEX, and then this is a new bad guy now, and there are some weird vampire chicks and some skeletons. Oh no, there's a JUDEX plus Black Terror crossover story on its own tier. It's a 12-pager. It's an ash can. It's 12 pages, but that tier is $40. Comes with the main book and everything, plus a variant cover, plus a metal print of that cover, which has yet to be colored, but it's going to be colored by the same colorist on the Terror in the Trenches book, and that color work is fantastic. Yeah. I have to say, Vaughn's colorist on that book blows my mind.
Insane.
The layers of color in that terror gas. There's like 6 different greens.
I can't wait to get the book. I can't wait to get that book. And
Terror? Yeah, Terror's gonna be fantastic. I'm jonesing for it. We had Vaughn do a crossover with us. The script's really exciting. He's a really great writer too. His pacing is also really awesome. It's kind of envious sitting here working with these guys like Oden and Vaughn. They crank stuff out so fast, and my stuff's good. It's same level, but it takes me twice, if not 3 times as long to put my stuff out there. I mean, it's polished. They both need polish too, but like, it's infuriating to see how fast they get their good shit on paper. And I'm like, these bastards. But it's really good stuff. So I'm really excited to see that come to life. Monica's doing
some people have an Athena that just comes right out of the brow, fully formed, and the rest of us, we've got to chisel out our
mortals. Yeah, that's what it is.
We're Pygmalion working away.
You and I are mortals against this, this Greek god.
Our Galatea is screaming for release, and we can't get her out.
Right.
I'm appreciating all these classical references. It's great.
So then we've got the JUDEX mask, which is going to come with a book and a variant of your choice, free shipping also, because you got to give people free shipping on the freaking ridiculous merch thing. Otherwise, it's like you're looking at $30 shipping, and people get so upset, so they're not going to buy it if they see $30 shipping. So just roll it into the price. It's like, just why not, right? And then we go all the way. We get the figure. The figure is really exciting. We don't have a mock-up for it yet, which is why I'm talking about it online, promising that we're going to be able to do this, right? But what we want to do is we have an articulated piece that my engineer is putting together. The sculpt is looking good. It's not there yet, so it's the turnarounds aren't up in the 3D print folder, but he's still working it out. He should have it done before we get back from Japan so we can do that test print. The Pantones are already done, which is nice, so I can get it to the painter while I'm out of the country. But the real cool part is we're doing a posable cape. A real fabric, velvet, interior like gold. What's it starts with an M? The type of fabric. I can't remember.
I know what you're talking about.
Shiny, crinkly. Frequency Girl knows, and she's not here. She should be shouting the name at me because she's the one making this. But the posable cape element is it's fabric and it has wires running through it, and the wires can bend and pose and drape. It's not muslin. That's the type of like rough fabric.
I was thinking lame, but
yeah, that was it. That has a strong M in it, but it starts with an L. I don't know what I'm doing. It doesn't start with an M. Yes. We were looking at sort of like a lame on the interior. The satin is like the exterior of the cape. We're trying to get the pattern right. I think she's going to be doing the iron transfers, but then again, I really shouldn't be talking about this part of it. That's hers to discuss because she knows. Gold satin. So it's satin on the exterior, satin on the interior, and we're doing the iron transfers for the pattern on JUDEX's cape. But the really cool part is the wire construction. And dude, let me tell you, fitting the wire cape into the mantle of an ABS figure, that took some know-how. It took figuring out how to like make the attachments work so you can plug the part in so that it comes off so that it can be posed correctly. But anyway, we have an articulated figure that's coming that's going to have a cape. Then there's the Widow. Then there is the actual life-size JUDEX cape, which I think we're only going to make one of because that's actual pattern work that we're sewing, and then she has to do all of the interior transfers, and that's a huge pain in the butt. I don't envy her when it comes down to making this stuff for this campaign, but she is a trooper, and she's pulled off some miracles in the past.
Because that's gonna be hand done, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's handmade. Right? It's called the cape comes on a tier called For Great Justice, and it is the mask, the cape, the gun, right? The books. It's the everything. It is For Great Justice, and there's only one cape. And it's a production. Like I said, we want to start doing things where we can offer more of an experience than just the collectible and the comic book. We want to get you into this. We want to bring you into the IP. So I want to start giving people like weird masks that they can wear and run around and pretend that you're Batman and, have your cape on. And like when we were kids, right? I'm a 42-year-old white guy who just wants to recapture his youth and exuberance. And I think the best way to do that is to give people costuming. Wait till you see what we got lined up for the field.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, that's a whole other stream. That's a whole other stream.
That's a whole other book. That's in November. But yeah, dude, I'm thrilled for JUDEX. I'm thrilled for JUDEX. There's other things. Obviously, there's stickers. There's going to be a magnet. Yeah. There's bookmarks. The bookmark that we have on this campaign is also ridiculous and stupid and wonderful. Because we're doing die cut.
There's another crossover but we won't talk about that yet because we don't have anything to show just yet.
Sorry, guys. That one, you can ban me, you can excommunicate me, but that crossover is Kickstarter specific, the way the Black Terror crossover is Indiegogo specific.
Oh my God. That is the most stupidest feud in the world I've seen going on.
I just, I gotta say, like, it's easy when you think about it. Like, anyone could market their book anywhere, just given the right angle. Like, seriously, John has Lilith, right? Lilith is freaking hot from Graveyard Shift. I don't think that they would ban him if he went back. It was just like, I'm running a booby campaign. Because everyone's running booby campaigns on Kickstarter. I mean, I
wish I could draw him.
I think Ethan, if he went to Kickstarter instead of, like causing beef with the head dude at Kickstarter, that he could run a Cyberfrog over there. The thing is, it's all about cultivating an audience and building your platform and, building your brand and gathering new backers. And that's hard work, and that's what us little guys, we're all trying to do on all the platforms that we're on. So I don't know, maybe there's an aversion to trying to do that again. I don't see the whole ideological element of it, because people come and go, right? Like, people get hired and fired. Remember when Elon Musk took over Twitter and just fired all of the old SJW people? Well, we don't hate, and that's the thing. And we don't hate Twitter now because all the SJWs are gone. Well, they purged the content Gestapo at Kickstarter back in 2020. Back in 2020, they couldn't pay them. That's what happened. It wasn't that they got rid of them because they didn't like keeping. No, they could not pay their content Gestapo, so they fired all of the sensitivity readers and all of that others. They just got rid of them all. And they were like, we can't have this ESG unit attached to checking every Kickstarter campaign for, diversity and inclusion. We just don't have the money for that. So since that disappeared, you're going to have people who are the head of outreach, because outreach is a position at the company. When you're a creator and you need to contact somebody and go, hey, why isn't my campaign working? They're kind of the one whose office it goes through, and they direct it here or there. Or if you're trying to get onto the platform and you want to introduce yourself, you talk to them. Why you would start a feud with that person, I don't know. That's someone else's, logic. I guess
it's almost like some people feel like they actually work for a platform. And have to,
I don't know how this price guy is going to play out. I reserve judgment to see how things go once people start doing their campaigns and stuff. But I just hooked up Bancroft. I've been hoping that the Kick Track people got back to Bancroft, because they were running this experimental beta with 14 days of like hyper marketing or something through Kick Track. I think it was Kick Track, or it wasn't Backer Kid, it was Kick Track, which is the website that tracks all of the Kickstarter campaigns and
predict where you're going to go.
Right, so they're starting to do marketing now. So they're starting to do advertising because they have access to all of the metrics and everything. They have all the inside information. So apparently they're trying to do a marketing beta, and Bancroft just reached out to them. I want to see how far that'll go, right? Like, he's at over 4 figures now on his Kickstarter for, the second or third chance of the Lucent, as a prelude to the premiering Painted Death that's coming soon. He's seeing really great success over there. He's not getting thrown off the platform. There's a whole bunch of creators that have gone out and run Kickstarters, and they're doing fine. So I don't know. Yeah. For me, I think the embargo was in place because we weren't getting featured. I didn't see it so much as because a couple of people got thrown off the platform. A lot of people have been, banned or even thrown off Indiegogo. We haven't stopped using that. So we use whatever platform you can to get your comic book out there, even if it means all you're doing is selling it on your own website. But stuff like what we're doing.
One lady got kicked off Indiegogo after the campaign was closed, and they refunded everybody after she ordered the books.
Agents of Hag, right? And it was because she was a trans exclusionary radical feminist or something. I looked at that book. You remember what we were talking about in that chat in the back room, in the Whisper Network that we're in?
Yeah.
Yeah. That one, Agents of Hag, I actually think qualifies as parody. I think it does. I'm not sure. We should go back and we should look at it again. But from the strips, the comic strips that I saw, I thought that one is pretty satirical. Like, of all of the stuff that we've been talking about, that one actually seems like the most artistic of all of them.
Parody
and it was the one that got like completely shut down and thrown out, and everyone got refunded. I'm like, yeah, and she's not anywhere to be found now. She's actually, that lady who does it, she's a well-known author and artist too. So it's like, Paley. She's done stuff, right? Yeah. It's like, of everybody that's going to get shut down, it's not these nobodies, no names writing these goofy things for the intents of and purposes of stoking the culture war. It's Nina Haley who's making a point using her art as established artist. They're going to throw her off the platform. That's just dumb. But you know, she could run to Kickstarter, right? Or she could go to Fund My Comic or Crowdfunder or her own website. I don't think there should be anything standing in our way of trying to like reach for the stars here. And that's another reason that I'm excited about working with Mike, because he's got great ideas, and I can see just how well those ideas can translate into a bigger market, a broader market, you know, like the idea of doing the Widow came to me. I was like, oh my God, like it's perfect. You know, we have a cosplay weapon right here, which is, it's a signature weapon for the character. Like, he comes up with these, dude, wait till you see these other things he's got in store. They're so dumb and wonderful. He's a genius man.
I don't know what you're talking about. It very clearly cannot be Romans versus zombies.
It's not. It's Janus.
So much substance.
It's Janus. I'm talking about Janus, but
Janus is also Janus is freaking insane.
I mean, that's another level.
Yeah,
can I throw something at you guys, and then you can all say, RJ, do you realize how much that would cost, or we've already done this? You talked about the glow in the dark cover, and I love that idea where, you know, you turn off, you got the spot gloss on the city, and then the lights are out, and it's just all the white stuff on JUDEX glowing. Paris is the city of lights.
City of lights.
What if it was inversed? What if it was the lights of the city were the glow in the dark, and then you turn it off and the city lights up and JUDEX is in silhouette?
Well, as long as, I mean, we could definitely do that. If you look at the first page of Fabrizio's, I should really just keep these windows open. If you look at the first page of Fabrizio's art, let me see if I can get it up real
this is going to smack people in the face.
Oh, okay. We might get struck. RJ, you might be struck down for hate speech. I'm apologizing ahead of time.
1940s. Is there going to be a broken cross?
Yeah. There's a broken cross right on the first page.
It's history, people.
He wanted to put it in the cover, and I'm like, we've got it on the first page. Let's stay there.
That was Fabrizio. That was the funniest. That was the funniest conversation, because Fabrizio sends us, okay, so this is a great story. So Fabrizio sends us 3 roughs, right? And the one that's my favorite, I'm like pushing for, and Neff just immediately goes, no, we are not doing the cover with the giant Nazi swastika. We already have that on the first page of the book. And I was like, so we just take the swastika out. He goes, I'm willing to entertain this, but I'll message Fabrizio. So Neff puts up an email. It just goes, look, man, they won't even let it on comic book store, like in comic book stores if it's got this on the cover.
There are a lot of books have been pulled from shelves or censored or whatever. Anyway, the reason I was showing that to you, and it's kind of hilarious, because Fabrizio goes, "Why would we be cowards? Like, we're not cowards. We're marketing the." Why would we be cowards? We're not. Oh my god.
And so like he takes it out, and then Neff goes, oh man, that cover's fantastic. And I was like, yeah, I know. It's what I said initially, and you told me no.
So what we did was we replaced on the cover that you saw, that was the cover. We just took the flag out and added Lamarion in the space that was left behind by the flag, and it solved it really well. It actually put the Marion on the cover, which I thought was necessary because it's an important factor in the thing. And we already got Nazis, and they're wearing Nazi hats, so we know Nazi. We don't need the swastika. But what I was just showing you there is Fabrizio does really great cityscapes. It's not Bancroft, but he's close. And so I would be very happy to do a second cover with Fab, getting him to do a inverse, like a black with white in like the windows, right? Because I don't think, unless we're doing it as a black light cover, I don't think we could do a glow in the dark where black glows instead of white. So it would have to be like the windows.
I don't think
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But what we would do is then, it's really simple. The way that the glow-in-the-dark paper works is you lay it down as a treatment on top of the whole cover. They can't yet actually highlight. I thought they could. They can't. They can't do it the way spot gloss is done. It is done on the entire sheet. And anything white then glows. And we're talking about like a degree of glow here. So if it's a light color that's similar to the white, it'll glow faintly. And if it's bright white, it'll glow vibrantly. So you actually get a gradient and a gradation of the type of glow that you get in the dark. So you could do like an awesome Parisian skyline that then lights up in the dark, and like whatever figure is in there blacks out. That's definitely something that could be done. Not hard.
It's just,
we could do that, Archie. We could do it. It could be done.
Cover Z.
Yeah. We have 3 right now. We have 3. We have the main cover, we have Russ's cover, and we have Erwin or Rose's cover. Actually, that's gorgeous. I'm gonna see if I can find that for you, because man, that one.
So while you're looking for that, Mike, how many adventures can you foresee for this character?
Quite a bit.
The duration of this run.
So
you want to make this an open-ended character?
So like. Obviously, this storyline is kind of centralized on, like, you know, the Nazi occupation. But Neff and I have already talked about, like, how we would pursue doing JUDEX stuff after that. But on top of that, even within the microcosm of this liberation storyline, we want to bring in people to do these little vignettes, to do these extra stories with JUDEX. That's the beauty of it. It's a call to pulp. And one of the great things about pulp characters is that you would occasionally have people coming in and writing little side stories. And those little side adventures, oh, man, I don't think I'd seen this colored. That is freaking gorgeous.
So it's the only color, the only cover that we have that's in color, and I'm hitting this with the holochrome. So this is going to be a holochrome cover that shines and glimmers.
You got those little pinwheels.
You know me and my cover finishes and my awesome things that I want to do. But yes,
you got those pinwheels of cancellation.
Oden wants to do the pinwheels of cancellation. And this is actually a shadow homage also. But that's Lamarion that he took from the coin, and he drew her inside there. I love this cover. It looks so good. But Oden's
so is she appearing to him in some fashion, or is it just an ideal to him? Because I'm getting like a Joan of Arc kind of vibe.
It's an idea, like so. JUDEX's like catchphrase, because obviously if you're going to model something after the shadow and everything, there has to be like a repetition of phrasing, like a specific, like shadow has who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men. The shadow knows, or the weed of crime bears bitter fruit, or the ice is the sun is shining and the ice is slippery. Like these turns of phrases are iconic to the shadow, and so. JUDEX's turn of phrase is, do you hear it too, I wonder? And the thing that he is referring to is, as I said at the beginning of this journey, like this pulse, the heartbeat of Paris that is La Marianne. It's both conceptual and physical in a way. And she is this embodiment to him of the living heart and soul of Paris. And it's feeble, it's dying. And its people are allowing this to happen. And so he is listening to this heartbeat going faint. And he is pleading with his people. Do you hear it too? I wonder. And so that's what it is.
He's also got another catchphrase. Justice is exact.
It's exact in the hand of JUDEX.
And he has like continuations on that at the end of the issue. He goes, justice is relentless in the hands of JUDEX. So there's always a justice something the hands of JUDEX, because he is justice. The idea when Mike created the mask was really dope. He had the things under the eyes are kind of like the hands on the scale, the plates on the scale.
They're the weights.
And the chains are supposed to like represent on the scales of balance or the scales of justice, the chains holding up the plates. I thought that was a really brilliant way to like work the motif into the mask. But as you can see, it's the spirit of the thing that's calling out to JUDEX, and he's trying to inspire other Parisians to look to La Marianne, the symbol of their independence, and to have her in their hearts. That's why she's on the coin. That's why he's trying to stoke their pride in their city, in their Parisian heritage, against these oppressors who are trying to tear away their culture, who are trying to tear down their flag, who are trying to suppress them. I don't know, RJ, is there subtext there? I don't know. Is it a timely story? Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, it's always.
No. It's France. We're just talking about 1940s France. It's nothing to do with modern cultural, conundrum that we're facing. Nothing about modern day.
They're fighting Hydra. It's Hydra soldiers from Hydra Land.
Right. It is not at all a look back in history through a lens that allows us to see the reflection of today in the text subtextually. It's not at all that. No.
When I was in high school, and I took history class with Mr. Elms, John Elms, God bless him. I loved him because when somebody raised their hands in class at the spelling count, you could just feel the temperature drop. That man, he made you do everything right. But he had us write a paper first week's like, I want you to all write a paper for an oral report on why I love history or why I hate studying history. And being the contrarian that I sometimes can be, Neff, I chose the latter.
Me? Nah. I don't. It's not like you have a special place in my heart for being a contrarian. Not at all.
Sometimes it's just fun. So being fun, I wrote why I hate history, and I talked about Hitler trying to invade Russia during winter when Napoleon had tried pretty much the same thing. I was like, and the whole
oh my god, I hate this. All right, that is a whole other stream. I know. But Napoleon did not invade Russia during the winter. He invaded during the summer, and they ran out his time by goading him into several battles that he won all of. And by the time he got to Moscow, they had burned it to the fucking ground, and he couldn't host winter quarters. Hitler just wasted his time doing stupid shit he didn't need to do.
Yeah, well, but the point of the paper was that the reason I hated history was because nobody ever learns from history. So why should we study it if we're not going to learn it? And I got an A. So 45 years ago. I don't remember everything I did.
45 years ago, some fuckers came to a city, decided to impose their own values during wartime on a culture that was the bastion of creativity and arts and free expression. They tore down their flag. They crushed them under their jack boots. The aristocracy fled and became silent. The public lived in fear. They were not allowed to speak. They were not allowed to be who they were. It was almost like they had their voices stolen. There's a lot resonant, right? Like an allegory, right? Who said it was an allegory in the chat? It is allegorical. It is its own story. We are not referencing anything modern in this story. It is entirely its own thing. It is indeed about France. It is indeed about this time frame. But the mirror is there, and that's why I really liked it. I was like, this is timely. This, for me, it's for Oden, it's the Shadow. For me, it's V for Vendetta, and the two things just collide and gel so well in this character, and you can really feel it once you get to the story. Man, I think you're going to be happy. It's Oden writing. It's my attention to detail. It's the watch the two of us cook and see if you like what we've got, because we've got a lot more in store where this is coming from. So I think. Also, I'm going to be doing a digital tier on the campaign that I'm working out with Chris right now. I need to make sure that we're covered, but it's going to be a month free of global comics, and you get the digital download to own. So it is everything behind the paywall on digital on Global Comics, you have access to. You can read all of the comic books that are behind the paywall, which means that you need the subscription to Global Comics to read them. You can do that,
right.
And you get our digital as own. And since what they do now is they deliver digital goods, the direct to digital, they provide a one-use code to the user downloads it, it goes into their Global Comics folder, but also down to your hard drive. It's a really great way, in my opinion, either going through DriveThruRPG, DriveThru Book, or another one of these services that does the secure code for the customer. It's probably the best way to do it, rather than hosting it as like a Dropbox or anything like that. And with Chris being super cool at being like, hey, yeah, read all of our other comics, anything you want. So I think it's a really good deal for I think it was $10, same price as the regular book plus shipping. So for $10 you could get every comic on their site and ours to own. It was a good deal. Like I said, though, I need to make sure that the pricing comes out the right way. So, don't quote me on the tier price yet, but I am working on doing that and getting it.
We'll have y'all back
point.
in mid-July.
July.
This thing is actually a thing that people can throw money at. And
don't worry, man. Like I said, I want to make it accessible. If you just want the book, $10, it's yours in the mail. You don't got to worry about shipping. That's it. If you want all of the goodies, there's a sliding scale of goodies. If you want the higher end stuff, I'm probably going to break your wallet a little bit because, why not, right? This is the good stuff.
It's boutique.
It's handy having jackboots in case one of them goes flat. I'm sorry, it's your show. You should be reading the chats. I'm just so used to it.
It's cool with me. I don't mind.
So RJ, real quick, because there was a comment from Tank Fair. Would you call this historical noir or historical fantasy? I would go historical noir. There is fantastic elements, but at its core, it's very much this is the Shadow. This is V for Vendetta. This is all of these things. It is very noir and has and feels like that. Maybe you could say that it's a little bit of a combination of both, because there definitely are fantastical elements, but at its core, this feels like classic pulp, and that's what we wanted to go for.
The Shadow had powers, right?
Yeah.
JUDEX has objects that have effects. They have effects, but each of those objects is also significant in some way to the culture, because it all comes from the hub of the mystic, the court of miracles, right? The widow is the piece of the guillotine forged into a pistol, which has unlimited bullets as long as the people needed to be judged. So when he takes it out of the box, it's for a specific purpose, right? He takes the widow to go do a thing, because JUDEX doesn't just do stuff. He is called to do a thing, to render a verdict, to pass judgment. So he takes his instrument of execution, and the widow knows how many times it needs to be fired to judge the people that need to be killed. So it technically has unlimited bullets, and when he's done, he opens that loading gate, and all the bullets of the people that he killed come out. So there's a lot to play with there, which is a lot of fun. Are there more bullets in the gun? Are there not enough bullets in the gun? Who really is guilty of something? Who's innocent? Who needs redemption? Who needs condemnation? There's a lot of fun stuff to play with there, and that's just inside of the widow that has its own function. And there's the mask, there's the cape, there's the sword of D'Artagnan. There's all sorts of fun stuff we're playing with. There's a tapestry in the Hub of the Mystic on the back of the wall, the Apocalypse tapestry. It's a real thing, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to play with fantastical Parisian things, but also stuff from Parisian history. These things are these giant squares of these ridiculous Hieronymus Bosch style crazy messed up scenes in tapestry form, and so he uses those. He looks at those to kind of see where he needs to go next, what crime is being committed, what justice needs to be visited, and so he finds where that is. And then he's got the Cassini map, which is an actual Parisian map, which also may or may not be a stretch goal on the campaign, that has all of the landmarks of Paris on it, so that he can plot out his secret route, which also may or may not be glow in the dark or under blacklight under the secret Cassini map on the campaign. that he then uses with his cloak to go through the shadows and go there. So he knows what's happening. He can figure out where he needs to go, and he can go and do his thing. Which is why when Oden was saying, well, when you asked him who is he underneath the mask, there is no JUDEX underneath the mask. He's always doing stuff as JUDEX. Like, the man doesn't sleep.
Yeah,
he's a force of justice.
The whole thing is he is manifestation of concept into physicality, and there may be a time to explore little hints at who that man behind the mask maybe was once. But
we have a ridiculously awesome idea that's going to blow people's wigs back, but we're not going to do it for a bit. We're not going to do it for a bit.
It's going to take a while. There's some things to work out with it, but Neff and I had a really good conversation about it, and I told him my idea.
And I said, "God damn it, Oden!" So good.
And he's just like, "Oh fuck!"
And then we sat down and we started cooking on it. Like, how could we make that fit inside of the current existing lore? We don't want to violate our mythology, right? Like, so one of the biggest problems with a lot of franchises, they violate their mythology for the sake of trying to look cool. So we really started working on, like, well, how could we make that fit? How would we make that a part of this story? And I think we're getting closer. We got to bang on it some more, temper it like steel, hit it with the hammer. But I think it's going places. You asked how long the series is going. I have an idea of where I want the one of the last issues to be in Oden. I think you were saying you wanted it with the liberation of France is where you want to just kind of
it's like this storyline. I would like to have it like
Charles de Gaulle.
The end of it would be JUDEX looks upon a liberated France, watching the parade of de Gaulle going through the Arc de Triomphe and everything, and taking back his city. Like that's how I would envision this, because that is the end. It's Paris.
But the fun part is once you have like your bookends, right? Like the invasion of France and the liberation of France. There's an infinite number of stories that can be told between these two endpoints. It's about how tight in on a moment you want to get.
Sergeant Rock fought World War II for 40 years.
Exactly, right? So not only can you just do that and really explore it, but you can get these rich stories that come out of there. I threw an idea by Oden a couple nights ago, and we started kicking it around, and we're like, it doesn't quite fit yet. It doesn't quite suit the JUDEX's justice for France yet. It has like a life of its own outside of this. So it might be something that I think we could get into once we look at the turning of the tide, the liberation of France. So there are all these other stories that could be told beyond just these bookends, and even just within these bookends, which is why Oden was saying, hey, we want to bring in some more people. If you've got a story to tell about something in France, like, you get inspired by something that you happen to see and have a way to convey that through the art form of comic books, to speak your mind through the lens of this character, then we're definitely interested in having people on. And we also love public domain characters, and we want to see a lot more team ups. So Black Terror is the first. There's another one for Kickstarter. I'll tell you in the back room. But we're probably going to see additional ones. Like they did a whole series called Masks, right? Which was all the public domain characters. Why can't we just do that? I mean, sure. It's not an original idea. Nothing's an original idea. Just watch the way I do it, though. The way I do it is going to be the way. It's going to be fun.
That's the beauty of things, and like I already told you how I want to handle like the crossover with that, and
I can see the spider. There's a lot of characters that are really awesome that we could play around with, and if people want to write those characters, freaking come on board, man. This choo choo's a chugging. Let's go.
I have so many more questions because the more you guys talk about the character, the more I'm thinking. Like you've already said, he gets a calling to take care of stuff. I'm like, so is there a Joan of Arc connection to his to his raison d'etre?
No,
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you in the back room. I will tell you exactly what it is in the back room.
But it's not. I will tell you right now, just because we're in front of everybody. It is not Joan of Arc. Like at the end of the day, everything has to do with Paris, right? Like he is a defender of Paris, and
it's not
Joan of Arc is obviously not, from Paris. So
it's not specifically God in that sense, but there is a more esoteric force guiding JUDEX, and JUDEX is kind of the in the way that Joan was, I guess, beholden to the Holy Spirit, right? He is beholden to this esoteric force, and then he becomes its agent, and he inspires people with their own free will to be, I guess, to carry that same spirit within them and become empowered in a way by that idea of liberty.
So you got this spiritual agent that drives things, and he's carrying it out by through a series of weapons and accoutrements that he has taken on himself. Both of these things outlive him. Is this a mantle type of character for a JUDEX in the 60s, a JUDEX in the 80s?
I mean, like that's something that we could play with down the line. I think that the important thing, though, with him is that we want to make sure that he stays in his time. He works best here.
I mean, if there was like a different person putting the stuff on.
It's very French, so unless it had to do with France, I don't think the widow would really come into play. However, I mean, I don't want to be hung as a political dissident, but we've seen a lot of Yellow Vest protests, and they were dumping manure on Macron's house. So who knows? We might see a weird modern incarnation of JUDEX at some point, depending upon whether or not France endures another civil war.
That's also another thing to point out, is that because he is more concept than person at this point, like, he doesn't have to, like, he doesn't play with the same rules as everybody else. And on top of that, as Neff said, I have a very, very good idea about who we're going to hint this person was down the line. And aging.
Don't give it away. Stop. Stop now.
Is all I will say.
Stop now.
Like, if we want to do that, we can continue doing JUDEX stories throughout whenever. But that's all I will say.
Okay. Well, we've gone on an hour and 30, which is 30 minutes longer, which means we had a good show because we had a lot to talk about. I appreciate both you guys coming on here and talking about this. I've got to have you back in July. We've got to take a look at the tiers when there are physical items to tell people to throw money at. So please come back.
We absolutely will.
Thanks for having us on, RJ. Really appreciate it.
Any time for any project. I'm always here. Folks in the chat, thank you so much for being here. We don't have a show without you, so we're glad you're here. We're just a podcast falling in the woods without you being out there watching. So thank you. And of course, while you were here, we just hope you had a blast. Good night.